All right, I got 5:30, so we'll call this meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I'd like to start off with a quick announcement. This is something we don't get to say very often, but we have a newlywed at the front table. So I think if you'll all join me in congratulating Fred Meyer on his marriage Saturday. All the newlywed jokes, it's time to bring them out. We have 2 items to add to the agenda tonight. I'm going to call them S and T, I guess. Action items. One is the hiring a structural engineer for the downtown. This isn't already on the one you have on the overhead, is it?
Yes.
Oh, it is? Okay, never mind. It's not S then. So I didn't get a newer version of this.
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean, I just have them as extra items.
Okay.
I don't have them lettered.
Okay, gotcha. All righty.
I have them in bold
Great.
there on the right.
Yeah, okay. Blocking parking in front of Memorial Hall for the American Legion's riders, and then structural engineering. Okay. Gentlemen, anything else we need to add to the agenda tonight?
No.
Okay, great. The first thing on the agenda then is the consent agenda. Any items you'd like to pull off there to discuss?
No, I don't have any.
Fred?
Nope.
All right, I'd take a motion then.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. First action item is considering the following treasurer's financial statements. This is a continuation from a previous meeting. Jen?
Yes, if you'll pull out the treasurer's statement. June 30 is as it stands, as it was presented last month. There's also the second quarterly statement, and then you have the July treasurer's financial statement. So if you would like to compare June and July, there's some balances I'd like to talk about.
Great.
And Commissioner Kapflish, I did not get all of your questions resolved this time, but I'm working through those.
Are you going to,
I'll address
Just-
them every time, yeah.
or just send us all an email with them and then we can,
Yeah, that'd be fine too.
yeah.
The changes from June 30 to July 31 that I'd like to point out, if we look at Fund 16, the CDBG 12 PFO 38, there was a payment that was miscoded there, and that's been corrected to Fund 95, so you can see that's down to 0 where that belongs. Another of the questions that Commissioner Kapflish had was on Fund 21, which is the geometric project at 10th and Chestnut. That had a negative balance of $77,000. That was due to 2 items. We spent $60,000 more on purchasing property for eminent domain than we had budgeted, and there were $17,000 of change orders. I have booked the entries to fund those, and that is down to 0 as well. On the Logan Fountain, number 19, you will see that right now we have a negative balance. I worked with Barb Burskins this week to kind of reconcile that account, and what we have found out is that the city overfunded that account by $25,000 when the entries were originally booked. We're going to work with 4PAWS to get the money from 4PAWS. Once they've paid us their full piece of the money, we should have about a $20,000 balance for maintenance in that account.
All right.
For the 4PAWS new ticket booth, back in May of 2014, it was approved for the city to fund the electrical to the ticket booth, but that entry was never booked. So I've booked that entry to correctly fund that account, and we're good there.
That's the 130781.
Yes. For Fund 78, that was the USD infrastructure. For some reason, the payment that the city or that the school district made to us for their half of the sidewalk on Willow Street at 13th and Willow, that got coded wrong. So that's in there now, and that fund has now been zeroed out. And then if you'll look back to Fund 90, the West Main, we've talked about before that negative balance, the $350,000, was due to the utility portion of the West Main project, and I've booked the entries to fund that from the special use sales tax road projects. So those are the items that we have corrected for tonight.
Great. Any questions on those, gentlemen?
You're going to recap that in an email in writing or?
Oh, do you want that recapped as well?
Well, just what you gave. was trying to follow along. And,
Okay, no, I'd be happy to.
okay, thank you.
Anything on the quarterly statement?
Now,
Go ahead.
I get one question, was still on the KDHE grant or loan.
The loan, mm-hmm.
Have we figured out our drawdown?
Sean Turner has offered to help me get those pulled together, and we met last week, and we're working together on that right now.
Okay. 'Cause I guess to make the payments, since we've had projects completed, we're basically using just allocated money for other areas that haven't been spent to cover the projects that are closed.
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
Well, we closed out the project, but we've paid.
Yes, we
But
do.
we've only shown that we spent 1.9 million.
Right.
So then how are we using money? It's got to be coming from somewhere, so it's just
Yeah,
from our total.
we use a
general
pooled cash
fund.
process, so all this cash is pulled together, so the negative balances are funded by the positive balances, and I have no doubt that we'll get that cleaned up quickly. I
Okay.
appreciate Sean volunteering to help me with that.
Okay.
Anything else on that one, Leonard?
No, I think for the treasurer's report, that was all.
Okay.
Thank you.
The quarterly treasurer's financial statement will now be published with your approval.
So we need to approve.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, make a motion, we approve the quarterly statement. Is that for, as of June 30th,
Mm-hmm.
2016?
Any questions on that one, Leonard, at this point?
No.
Okay. I'll second that motion then. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. Thank you, Jen. Move on to item F, consider an agreement with the South Kansas and Oklahoma Railroad and the Kansas Department of Transportation regarding installation of crossing signals and gates on West Maple Street.
Yes, we have gotten information on this, and it is going to be a grant. The only thing we'll have to pay for is the markings and the signs, which we're responsible for now. And the other question was in other costs and related to the electric facilities. But the city attorney has prepared an amendment to the contract to make it very clear that we don't have to participate in that cost. Jeff?
Okay.
So I'd recommend approval.
All right. So this money's coming from the state?
Yeah,
Coming
Or is
from the state, from the feds,
Okay,
through the state.
great.
so it's a pass-through then for,
Yes.
All right. Gentlemen, any questions before we move on that one?
No.
no, it's
All
a safety issue.
Yeah.
It'd be hard not to do it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I move that we approve the agreement with South Kansas and Oklahoma Railroad and KDOT regarding installation of crossing signals and gates on West Maple. We have a
I'll second the motion.
All right, thank you, Leonard. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item G, consider agreements for the extension of the city water main.
This is a water main that will go from our property in the West Laurel Industrial Park, across our property and IEP property over to Peter Pan and be available to tie into our water line there. And it's necessary for the emergency room construction. And the hospital will pay up to $40,000 of cost. And I think we'll actually be able to do that for less than 40. We will do the labor.
Right. So they're going to pay for the material costs up to 40, but we're pretty confident that'll cover it.
Yes.
Great.
Is our water line on the west side of Peter Pan? It shows, looks like crossing Peter Pan Road.
Yes.
So then does the water line go north and south on that side of Peter Pan?
I believe so. Terry's here. And we will have to bore the road to make that tie.
Underneath it,
Yeah.
you'll have to.
Terry's got his Harley shirt on, so.
All right, I'm out of order. Looking at the diagram, it shows that we're coming down the east side of Peter Pan Road and then putting a fire hydrant
Yes.
on there. Is, with fire hydrants, the preferred is to have it on a loop. Would it be better to put it on the other side, the west, so that the fire hydrant will be fed from both directions?
Our thought was just to give coverage to that building and better coverage in that area. Yeah, it would be preferable that it be on a loop, but at this time, it's just gonna be dead-ended. They have, if they expand, they have plans of bringing another line across and tying that together and taking it around to the back of that building to put another fire hydrant at the back. So at that time, it would be looped together.
Yeah. On some other projects we've had, we talked, not here, but that with the fire hydrant, if you have a dead-end loop, if you have a break in the line, you only have it fed from one direction, then you lose service to that hydrant. That, on the west side, you still have water coming from both directions. That was just my question.
Well, we're gonna, with doing this line extension, we're gonna actually loop that whole area, which at this point in time is not. So it's gonna improve quite a bit out there.
So that's in the works, just not right now, to loop that.
Yeah, and there's other hydrants on the west side of the road, a little ways north of this property and to the south of it that could be fed off of too, so.
This allows for the expansion if they're,
Pardon me?
you said that there's plans to maybe potentially expand the building, so then.
Yes, they show in their expansion another line coming across and going to the back of for more
So-
fire protection, and at that time, that could be tied together
So
there.
that's how it could work.
That's what our thought was.
Any further questions?
I'm good.
All right.
That was my only
Okay.
concern, is the hydrant on a dead-end loop or dead-end feed.
Shall we move forward with it then?
I'd make a motion that we extend the city water main for that Peter Pan Road.
And
Can you approve the agreement as well?
Yeah, per the agreement, yeah.
there's two.
Yeah, the utility easement. Yeah, the
Yeah.
utility easement and the agreement.
Got all that, Jen? Could you read it back?
I do. I have a motion to authorize the agreements for both the utility easement and the extension of the city water main.
Ooh, good job, Fred.
That was beautiful.
I was reading the utility.
All right, I'll second.
Easement.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Great. Okay, moving on to item H, consider authorizing purchase of a pickup truck for use in the police department.
Mayor, the GSET leadership class that starts tonight. So Jen and I are covering for him. Since his arrival, he's had one of the Dodge cars break down, and the repairs on that car are more than what the car is worth. I believe, going through his notes, and Jen helped me here, over $8,400 to repair that car.
Wow.
So
I see it's worth $1,000 as a trade-in. That's
yeah.
very
So
valuable.
what he has already done to ensure that we have patrol cars is taken his SUV. It is in service now. The sergeants or lieutenants are driving that vehicle. And so he's already put that on the road. So we have 3 SUVs patrolling now. He would like to purchase a pickup. It'll be a fully marked pickup, have police lights and everything. Used for him, but it would also be used for crime scenes, pulling the trailers, and other things that the police department needs at times. And if you have any questions on the budget part of it, Jen's going to cover that.
Hard to imagine that the used cars cost as much as the new.
It's because we get these government discounts,
Wow,
and it takes the price down considerably.
that's amazing.
I've given you the capital expenditure 5-year plan that we went through with the budget, and there is one small change that he's made. What was presented was purchasing a $40,000 Explorer this year and then a $40,000 Explorer next year, as well as the admin vehicle. And what we've done is move the admin vehicle to this year, take off the $40,000 Explorer to save $15,000 there, and he put his Explorer into the rotation. So what we're doing is trying to save some money and get him an admin car so that the Explorer that he was driving can just be entered into the rotation instead of buying a whole new Explorer.
Okay.
makes sense.
Any questions, Leonard?
I don't see the 40,000 in this year's budget. Is what
That's
I'm
because
missing it.
we removed it because he's put his Explorer into the rotation, and so we're not buying the
Okay.
40,000. The way it was originally presented to you, it had the 40,000 this year
Right.
and 40,000 next year. We've taken that out because his Explorer is basically that car. We're not buying a $40,000 car. We're just buying the $25,000. So ultimately, over the 2 years, we're saving buying one Explorer.
And then you've just got to come up with the $26,000 this year for unbudgeted.
Well, we had
Vehicle.
40,000 budgeted, so you can see where I've tagged and highlighted where the 25,000 is moved over. So we're saving a net 15,000 this year.
Which page are you on?
On page 2,
Page 2? Okay.
we had budgeted 40,000
The
for this year and
continuation,
65 for next year, and now we're spending 65 over the 2 years.
And this will be a police package on the truck?
Yes,
too?
it is a pursuit police
Yes.
package.
How many patrol vehicles do we need for the total department?
He has 4 in patrol. The SRO has a car, our 2 detectives, and the chief and captain. The cars we have, I believe, Leonard.
How many?
What did I say? 4 in patrol, SRO, 2 detectives, and chief and captain.
That's nice.
SRO's school resource?
School resource officer.
Okay.
Sounds like 9. Anything else, anyone?
No.
All right. I will move that we authorize the purchase of the 2017 Dodge Ram 1500 from Quality Motors, $27,785.
Second?
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. Item I says, consider setting meetings with Burns and Mac to further discuss scope of services.
A little bit before the meeting, Leonard sent me which one of these that he was available. So I just need to get with you guys on your availability so that I can get these set up.
For the individual ones
For
and
the
then,
individual ones, and then after that, we can have the joint.
okay. Will that be done at a regular meeting?
However you prefer. You tell me how you want it done. And then
We can
we'll
do it
set
either
it
way.
up.
I'm sorry?
We could do it either way.
Yeah.
On our schedules. How much time he thinks it's gonna take?
Yeah, do we know that? Is that going to be a long conversation or?
You know, they haven't given me a timeline. They may be able to give me a better timeline after they figured out the individual ones and
Mhm.
conducted those.
Right, okay. So we may try to do it at a meeting, but if it's going to be an hour or something, we might do it
Right.
at a separate.
Well, the individual, are you talking individual meetings?
I'm wondering about the 3 of us together.
Yeah.
The 3 of
After
us
the
together,
individual
okay.
meetings, they'll put together
Yeah.
a meeting for us
Yeah.
to review their findings from the interviews with
Yeah.
us. And that, you know, that can be a really good conversation, and it could take a while as we
Yeah.
try to clarify the scope.
Right, okay.
It might be better for that to be a public meeting just for
It would be a public.
discussion, and we
Yes.
could,
It would be a public meeting.
we wouldn't be
Oh, yeah, it
pressured
would
with
be
other things.
Public,
Yeah.
you mean just a
Right.
special meeting just with that topic?
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be wise.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that idea. Good, okay. So we'll see if we can get that scheduled ASAP. All right, so we don't need any action on that.
No, I just need you
Okay.
guys to get back with me and we'll
Yeah.
get those set up.
All right, we'll move on to J. Consider setting the date of Wednesday, October 26th at 5:30 for public hearing to consider adoption of the North Penn Neighborhood Revitalization Plan.
This is the revitalization plan that was requested by the commission, and MAC has helped us put it together. They have basically included all the areas that have commercial potential in that area. If the commission would like to change it, alter it, certainly we can do that. But we're just following up and getting as much of the area in the plan as possible. This will be, I think we've got 3 others. This will be like the 4th.
So with this, we are adding some residential area along 10th Street also, aren't we? That entire colored area.
Down to Maine, yeah.
Yeah, basically, they included about everything that, with potential.
Mhm.
But it can be changed if the commission so desires.
How did we choose that date?
Why did we choose that
It
date?
was just based on the requirements for the notice that you have to get to have the hearing. That was just the next one out.
But on a Wednesday?
Yes, because it's during the New and when you guys set your yearly calendar, you didn't want to miss the Doo-Dah Parade, so.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. You're right there. I know Fred and Leonard would not want to miss the Doo-Dah.
I don't have my costume yet.
Okay. Does that work for you guys, October 26th?
Yeah.
Yes,
Any changes that the commission would like to make?
I think it'll give some opportunity both with the residential area to see maybe some improvement in that area of town and, of course, along Penn Avenue. I think it'll really be attractive to some of the businesses there to expand, renovate, remodel.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
I think it's a very positive step.
Mhm.
Okay.
Again, I'd like to thank Mac for helping us put that together. And I think we have not only the former director here, but also the interim
Oh.
director that they've hired. You guys want to come up and say a few words? Aaron?
We know what Aaron has to say. We don't really need to hear from him.
My name is Tom Simpson. I have the burden of following Aaron's excellent work with MAC over the last few years. My job is temporary. I'm a bridge between him and whoever the board decides to hire next. I have some background in city management, a former professor at Missouri Southern State University, and glad to be a part of your community, even if it's temporary. Thank you.
Where's home?
What? Yeah, where is home?
I'm originally from Alabama, but I live in Kansas City.
Well, okay. We'll call that your home then.
Yep. So I know working through my transition when I left with the board, we're thrilled that Tom is here to help. And, you know, I've done my best to get him up to speed on things like this, but we'll continue to assist him as needed. So,
Appreciate that.
yep.
Thank you.
You don't look like a banker to me, Aaron, sorry. Okay. Can I have a motion on that one?
I make a motion that we set Wednesday, October 26th, 2016 at 5:30 PM for a public hearing to consider adoption of the North Penn Neighborhood Revitalization Plan.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, consider purchasing wind and hail deductible buyback insurance. Who's going to?
We've got the agent here, Doug Buckles.
Oh.
However, the reason I wanted him to come and present this is not because I'm going to recommend it, but because I think it's something the commission should consider. I think in looking at the type of warranty and everything that we have on our roofs, I think we cannot afford it at this time, but I think that it's something that we should think about in the future, or at least consider for the possible tornadoes or something that might occur.
All right.
Doug?
With that intro,
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you. This isn't a new idea. It was presented, I think we proposed it 2 years ago too, and we just want to make sure the commission understands there is an option available. And like the city manager said, he requests that we come tonight and just review it with the commission. It is a way to buy down your property insurance deductible to a more manageable or more comfortable level. Just real quick in background, in Montgomery County, we've had substantial hail in 4 of the last 6 years. 2 of those were here in Independence, 2012, 2015. From those two storms, the city's insurance carrier paid property claims in excess of $460,000. That's just buildings, that's not including vehicle claims. Across the board, insurance companies have reacted with higher premiums, higher deductibles. It's all over southeast Kansas. It's not just here. Homeowners, commercial, everything. Right now, the City of Independence deductible is 1% for wind and hail. That includes tornadoes per building, and that's like 1% of the replacement cost of the building. So if you go looking at like Memorial Hall, I think we've got $13 million, $130,000 wind and hail deductible. We were very fortunate. Memorial Hall had a brand new roof just before this last hailstorm. We looked at the three of the properties with extremely high values: Memorial Hall, the water plant, the sewer plant. Each building where the deductible would be over $50,000. The total insured value on those properties is just under $42 million. So the maximum wind and hail deductible for the worst thing in the world would be $420,000 roughly. And then this is just an option to buy back that deductible down to a flat $50,000. Different buildings could be added, buildings could be taken off, it could be tweaked, just to show an example. And Mara Samora here is going to just go through the actual numbers with you real quick.
Hey, Mara.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome.
Okay, so if we're just talking about Memorial Hall, the water plant, and the sewer plant, those are the buildings where your deductible would be more than $50,000 anyway. That's a total insured value of $41,800,000. So you've got a deductible of $418,000. What we're proposing as an option to consider is, it's called a wind hail deductible buyback policy. And what it would do is buy your deductible down to $50,000. So if you were to have damage at all three of these properties, kind of the big ticket properties, instead of paying $418,000, you would only pay $50,000. And this policy would reimburse you the difference.
So it's 50 for the three buildings, or is it
Yes.
50 each occurrence?
50 for the three buildings.
For the three
Your
buildings.
your policy underneath is per building. But this buy-down policy considers everything that was damaged if it's on the policy, meaning these three buildings.
So that'd be our maximum out of
So
pocket,
it's
essentially.
Maximum, that's the question. is
Correct.
Maximum out of pocket is 50.
So in a catastrophic event, it would save us $370,000.
Yes.
Okay.
And the premium is?
The premium, annual premium is $35,400. And if you were to purchase this right now, it would be prorated to April 1st, which is when all your other coverage renews anyway, because they want the effective dates to be the same underneath.
So.
So right now, it would be around $22,000 between
Yeah,
now
so
and
it'd be
April 1.
20,000 this year, or till April.
Yeah, and then April 1,
And then
it's,
36,000 for,
yes.
to save 470, take that 36 off. That's-
Paying 35,000 to potentially save 368,000.
Yeah.
The premium is prorated. It doesn't matter what time of year you purchase it. It's 100% minimum earned the minute you buy it. So you can't buy it in April and May and then cancel it in September.
Yeah, you don't get any money back, so it's
So if we had
fully earned.
$80,000 in damage next year, it would pay for itself the first year.
On those three properties.
Yes.
Right.
Now, other properties, we determined it would be up to you whether you would even want to include them, because, for example, take the Ash Center, that's insured for 2.6. So that deductible would be 26,000 anyway, so you wouldn't be, there'd be no point to that.
And Mickey, it sounded like you're not in favor of doing this right now.
Well, I think with our current warranties on our water plant, we have the full hail coverage up into the size of over greater than 2 inch in diameter. And on Memorial Hall, this one, we don't have that, but it's probably going to take one hail that size to puncture this roof, this top
Right.
Firestone
Premium.
Platinum P roof. So, with that, I think that the cost is more than we can endure, because if we have some punctures, even if it's not covered, we can get it patched. But I think it is something that we need to, the commission needs to think about, particularly in the future.
Right.
When we look at roof replacements, we should consider a roof membrane that has hail warranty on it, and then it's covered by the initial policy. Would reduce our liability quite a bit. With the wind, usually the spec is like a UL 90 uplift. What are you talking about wind damage that would be covered by this rider? A certain mile-an-hour wind, or what specifically?
I don't think there's any rules about that.
Any damage caused by wind?
Yeah, wind or hail.
Or hail, yeah.
Or a tornado.
That would be wind.
A tornado would probably take more than just a roof.
Yeah. You're the architect, buddy. What is your thought on this?
Well, insurance is all about risk.
Right.
And so what's our risk level versus our financial exposure? That's the real quandary.
Right.
And,
Yeah, the $35,000 premium is a lot, but coming up with $420,000.
see, I
a
mean,
lot too.
420,000 really, if it were to happen, I mean, chances, again, it's all about risk. So,
Your comfort
the chances of it happening 2 years in a row, statistically or actuarially, wouldn't be very good, but
We can add this at any time,
I
right?
say, if we, at the renewal, you said the renewal's in April, is that correct?
Yes, April 1.
So I'm not too worried about it
Between now and
with
April.
winter going to April, but then in April, maybe that's a time for us to
Rethink it.
rethink it and bring us a forecast so we know what to do.
Sure, we're happy to quote it again.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
And I-
I think when we're looking at it, if the water treatment plant has hail protection in the warranty, I don't know, check and see on Memorial Hall, the sewage treatment plant, what's the age of that roof? Find out what the age of that roof is. If we need to look at replacing it, go again with a membrane that's got hail warranty and go that way on the future for our projects, then we could potentially save the 35,000 that, if you have it next year, you save, but over 10 years, we've spent 350,000. And it's, it's like a spare tire, you kind of gamble on that. But if we specify the membranes with the hail warranty in it, we might not need the policy. That would be one area to research. And sewage treatment, building D, I think it was mentioned during the preliminary presentation, the roof is aged or needs some attention. So even looking at that roof too, if we can use the fleece back hail resistant membranes to get the warranty, then we can save that portion of insurance.
It's got that type over the MRI, that imaging area. It's the only place that's got this type of roof.
How's that warranty work on that hail damage?
It's
Isn't that a declining value?
I'd have to look again. I don't know if it depreciates or not. Do you know, John?
It's actually a water penetration sort of a deal. So if you have a leak, you report it, they come look at it, and then they take care of it. And then those warranties even have a feature where if somebody's up on the roof working and they happen to penetrate the roof,
step on it.
they'll fix it as well. It's all driven by just having a leak. But the we've had two, we've got, the high-rise has a platinum on it, a 90 mil. The water treatment plant, Memorial Hall, all do. And of course, the water treatment didn't, but the others have, been through a couple of hailstorms and performed well, so.
All right? So no action at this point?
I think we can do our due diligence on the warranties. Look at it again
Yeah.
in April, what I think.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for bringing this to our attention.
Yeah, that's
Appreciate it.
good information to
Yeah.
have.
On to item L, consider authorizing the sale of 1 acre of ground at the West Laurel Industrial Park.
Yeah, this is a local citizen that wants to build a facility, and he's wanting 1 acre. And in talking to him, I would recommend that we sell him 1 acre. It's in an area that is difficult for any large project to build in. It's at the corner of Hackney Boulevard and that road that the pipeline company put in. And I'd recommend that we sell it to him for $9,000.
Is Mr. Conway here tonight?
No, I don't think he could be here tonight.
Okay. Do we know what he's building or what his plans are?
He's got a couple of different possibilities that he's exploring, and he hasn't made he's going to build a building, and he hasn't made a decision on which way he's going to go.
That is an awfully odd little corner lot there.
Is the 25-foot easement still active?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it
He's going to have to build
utilities?
around it.
Platted.
Pardon?
That was recently platted, not too long ago,
Okay.
2011.
Yeah, he's going to have to build around that.
Is it a utility easement?
I think it's a
believe
general
so.
utility
Just
easement.
general.
And he knows he's not gonna place the building on that easement.
How did we come up with the cost?
You'll have to talk to Mickey.
I talked to some realtors, and I think for a market price, that's representative. We had sold some property back in 2010 for about $10,000. We've sold some since during the better period for up to $15,000.
Out
But
of
the market,
out of the industrial park?
Yes, at the industrial park. But it's, the price, according to realtors, has come down.
And
There
he's-
has been some sales in the general area for much more than that. But I think that this particular parcel is, as I said, it's not going to be something that's going to be used by
Right.
any big operation.
Right, and he's agreed to that price.
Yes,
And that was 9,000.
yes.
I'm worried about the precedents this sets.
How so?
Start selling that parcel, somebody else going to want another parcel, somebody else going to want another parcel. Industrial parks are made or designed so that you can bring in folks for expansion or building new businesses. I mean, while I agree that it's an odd parcel, it could be used for parking, or it could be storage, some sort of storage yard.
You think it might
Yeah.
make the adjoining property less valuable? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, I could see with the 25-foot easement, that part of it with that little triangle at the end, anybody thinking it's going to be that portion of land worthless.
As a piece of the land, but as a whole total piece of the whole industrial park, I wouldn't agree with that.
So Fred, you'd rather not sell it?
Well, I mean, industrial parks are developed for what reason?
Right. Got it.
And so what is the specific purpose for an industrial park? If our purpose for the industrial park has changed, then we need to say so and maybe develop some sort of policy or something that says that whole industrial park's up for sale if we parcel it out. I just don't know how wise that is in the future, and I worry about the precedents that it sets. It's not, I mean,
If he's going to establish a business or do any work that would bring revenue in, then the acre would fit the size of his business. And we've parceled off the incubator building. We sold that property off with the building too, didn't we?
to a business,
Huh?
to a business.
Yeah. For an acre and in that little odd portion, I don't think it would impact negatively in the industrial park.
Well, he's actually got a couple opportunities. One of them would certainly meet our requirements, but he hasn't definitively made a decision on which way he's going to go. Maybe it'd be better for him to come back and, at the next meeting and explain what he's going to do, if indeed he's going to do something that's going to be employment-based. It would certainly be in line with what we have the property for.
What do you think about that? You want to see what he has in mind and see if it fits our goal for the industrial park? You want to move forward?
I'd go either way. I could move forward, or if you feel more comfortable asking him to come and visit with us, that's fine too.
I mean, I'm willing to listen, but I don't know that, I mean, I'm going on the premise of what an industrial park is for.
Right. But
And-
he is building a business there, but we don't know what kind of business it is at this
Right.
point. Or we assume it's a business.
I don't know that.
Well, how about then if we ask him, invite him to come at the next meeting? There's no big rush on this, right?
Are there limited use requirements in the industrial park that, like?
There's permitted and conditional uses, just like there is in any zone.
But there's no private covenants. We haven't established any private covenants,
No.
and that probably would be a good idea to do.
But you could, if you sold property, couldn't you put restrictions on it
We
for
all
the
live by
use? And
restrictions, yeah.
Yeah, and, I mean.
We're experts.
The commission could come up with a policy or determination of how you would like to do that.
Well, it'd probably be a good idea to put some private covenants on the property. That would restrict it. And
I
then-
just think we need to be real thoughtful with it before we go jumping into it.
Okay. Well, how about if we invite Mr. Conway to our next meeting and discuss it again?
That's fine.
All right? Great. Thank you, everyone. All right, so we will move on. Item M, consider setting the date of September 15th at 2 p.m. to receive bids for purchase and installation of the lighting control board and frequency updates at Memorial Hall. Who's going to discuss that with us?
We're trying to get this moving so we can get this lighting control board in, because they're very concerned that it's not gonna make it through the play, because they're having trouble with the old one. And so that's why we're trying to rush this and get this done. But this will also require having a quick meeting after the bids are received. They're suggesting either September 15th at 4:30 or the following morning at 8:30. And if you're not available, we could, in person, we could even do it by phone
Yeah.
to approve the bids, so they can give them notice, so they can get that thing here, so we don't disrupt the musical.
So if we do it that date, they can have it here in time?
Yeah, they're working with the play schedule, and this is what they need these dates set, so they can let whoever know that has the bid, so they can proceed on getting it here.
Can we get the dates that quickly? I mean, the bids that quickly in a week?
Yeah, the PEC is the one that came up with this, and this is a division that works with that audio-visual
Okay.
type thing,
All right.
and this is what they're comfortable with. They gave us the dates, we didn't provide them.
Okay.
This gives them time to work through some of the
They
bugs.
said it won't take long to go over the bids, and,
Yeah, the 16th in the morning works better for me than the 15th.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine with me. How about you? 16th in the morning?
No.
You could do it by phone.
But if,
can we just call you
actually
on
I
the
have a
phone?
forum that morning,
Okay.
but, yeah, we'll take a break then. Won't take, but,
It won't take very long.
yeah.
You could potentially, I could ask them if we could do it earlier. Do you want to do it, can you do 8
5:30?
o'clock, or?
Just kidding.
Yeah, 8 o'clock, 8:30.
8 o'clock?
8:30, whatever.
Well.
I start at
which-
9, so I just have to have,
Oh, so 8:30 may be okay?
yeah.
Okay. You guys just tell me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
work,
I'd
that's
have
fine
to
with me.
participate by
16th
phone,
at
just-
8:30.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So I move that we set the date of Thursday, September 15th at 2 PM to receive bids for purchase and installation of the lighting control board and frequency updates at Memorial Hall. We have a second?
Are we gonna do it the 15th, or are we gonna do it the 6th?
Well, that's for setting
To
the date to receive
the
bids.
Oh, I got you. Okay. I'm good. Second.
All right, thanks. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
And then, did you also set the special meeting for the 16th at
I did not.
8:30? That'll need to be a separate motion, please.
Okay, I move that we have a special commission meeting at 8:30 a.m. on September 16th to review the bids. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank
All
you.
right, there we have it. Thanks, Kelly. Okay, on to N. Consider possible action related to damage caused by Kansas Fiber Network. Oh, wait, sorry. I'm going to move to these two that we added.
Yeah.
The structural engineer one. Who's going to update us on that? possibly?
April is chairman of that committee.
Chairman of the committee.
I'd like to report that we conducted 4 meetings between August 30th and 31st. 2 at 7:30 in the morning, 1 at noon, and 1 at 5:30. We sent 135 letters out to building owners who are in the commercial district. 18% of property owners and buildings participated, so we were pleased with the percentage, to be honest with you. Normally, it's about a 5 or 10% if you're good to go. So 18, we were thrilled. Out of that, they provided us with the input for the guidelines. We have those outlines. We plan on presenting those to you in October for final approval. But one common request that came out of all 4 of the meetings, the first 2 were instigated by the participants themselves. The following last 2 meetings, we brought it up as an option. But they all said that they really would like, the city had discussed previously providing an engineer to come down on the city's dime. And they expressed interest in that. Actually, we had 75% of those polled who provided us information said that they would like to participate in that option. So with that, I'm asking you to, we've got the engineer that we use. He's agreed to come down at the commission's approval for 2 Fridays. Each day is $1,100. He will be here, and that includes mileage and travel. He'll be here from 8 and work till 5. Right now, we're anticipating that we have at least 14 that will want to participate in that. We've also had some phone calls after our meetings, and we've had some pretty good input. Matter of fact, the new MAC director said that they had quite a bit of discussion over he participated in one of the meetings, so we're going to talk next week about that. Anyway, what we would ask for you is to authorize us to enter into an agreement that the city attorney approves to bring that structural engineer in. He will be here. He'll do a verbal discussion with the property owner. If the property owner is inclined and wants a written, then they will have to pay for that themselves. The city would not.
What if there are 50 building owners that would like him to look at their buildings? How will we decide?
Well, then we'll have to set more Fridays, and the bill
Okay.
would be $1,100 a day.
Okay.
And I will tell you what we will do is we will provide that letter out to, if the commission so is inclined, we will send letters out to all 135 building owners and offer that to them. Okay?
Right.
I think we will have a few more participants. I don't know that we would have a great deal more participants.
Everybody likes free services, though.
They do like free services. You just don't know.
Right.
Also, people are a little concerned about having an engineer coming in and telling them exactly what's good and what's bad about their building. Anyway, that will be, our recommendation was that you would take that out of the grant funds. Since this is not a
Right.
budgeted item for the city, it would be something that you would take out of the grant
The
funds.
$100,000 budget.
Correct.
So basically, he's not given us time to write reports. He's going to
No.
walk around the building with the owner and point out things that are
Correct.
items of concern.
Correct. Their big thing was they wanted to know, A, items of concern, and B, items to be proactive in.
Right, good.
So that was the feedback that they gave us, that they would like participation in.
Is that photo an example of an item of concern, just out of curiosity? Never mind.
I would like to share a few more stats with you that I think is interest that came out of this, that I think because you all wanted to put this program together, which they were very appreciative of, so you all need to be commended for bringing that to the table. But 50% stated that they for sure intended to take advantage of the grant program. 25% said they were not sure, but they appreciated it. 25% said that they felt like they had the means and that they commended the commission for doing it, but did not think that they would participate.
Wow, those are pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
It is.
Out of you know,
The ones that think we're boneheads didn't come to the meeting then, apparently.
no comment.
Yeah.
75% that they would use the funds for structural repairs, which is what we explained to them. It's for the envelope and roof. It wasn't and windows.
Right.
You know, it necessarily isn't for beautification.
Mm-hmm.
And from the Housing Authority's perspective, we had 50% also expressed interest in the upper story grant.
Great.
So we felt like the meetings were very productive. It was a real good give and take back, and they are really excited about the potential for the downtown.
Are most of the people at that meeting local, just out of curiosity?
We had one representative that does not live in Independence. They live in Topeka.
But everybody else
But
was
they
local?
have local
But somebody was
ownership
here.
and building. Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, everybody else that participated were local residents.
Wonderful.
If a owner wanted a written report, was there some sort of agreed upon price
There is.
so that they would understand right up front what that cost would be, so that they have documentation for?
That would be correct.
Okay.
$250 fee was what he
Okay.
said that he would do. And we would put that all in the letter. They would know that up front. And then at that point in time, we step away. You know, our deal is just the visual, the verbal. We step away, and that would be between them and the engineer.
That would be, knowing the cost right up front, I think would be big
Correct.
for them.
This
Correct.
engineer is from where?
He lives in Caney.
Caney? Oh, it seems like a really reasonable fee
that
to
correct?
me.
Sedan,
Sedan.
sorry.
Sedan, yeah.
Sedan. Somewhere in the vicinity.
My concern is that it's not the city's place to make recommendations on privately owned buildings, that when we start supplying an engineer to review their building representing the city, then we start coming into some liability. With that price, and you have 14 people looking at buildings, they could divide the cost and the group could hire the engineer. But as far as the city sponsoring a structural engineer, I don't think that's where we should be going. We should be interpreting codes and enforcing codes and not get into the diagnosing of problems on buildings. Because then where does it go? Do we hire an electrical engineer to review service entrance and panel feeds inside a building, and that just because they've got problems? And then what do we do about mechanical for air quality, other issues? You know, it opens doors for us, but I think it's a liability that we're in plan review and code enforcement, not remodeling and structural issues. They should be furnishing us the documentation that their building is safe. And I know it's quite an expense to go with a written report, but if you look at a large number of building owners that want their building reviewed and it breaks down to $100 or $200, that's much better than $1,600 to $2,000 getting their own engineer. So, you know, I hesitate to support the city sponsoring an engineer to review buildings, but I feel that the approach as a owners group would be better. They could all take advantage of the meeting on one day and that group expense and make it affordable instead of independent action.
Well, and our charge was to come back to you with what that group requested.
Yes.
And previously, the city had offered the structural engineer. So that's where I believe that came from. And so that's up to the commission's call. Our charge was just to bring back to you what they collectively requested.
I think it's a great dialogue we're establishing with the building owners and with the grant administration too, that's where it's really going to help, that they get needs addressed, that we can preserve our structures downtown.
And that was the goal. I will tell you that collectively, they all, was the goal for preservation, making sure. But many of them, I don't have the expertise. I don't know.
Yeah,
So.
I think that's a great point, Leonard. I'd love to ask Jeff. To me, it's if a structural engineer comes in and gives his opinion, to me, he's the one that's liable. He's the one that's trained to look at a structure. I don't quite understand why we would be liable for that, for his opinion.
I think, I'm not trying to interpret Leonard's point, but he can speak for himself, but I took his comment as more as a precedent setting for doing inspections at city. I don't think it increases liability to the city. I don't think that should be a factor. But that's more for precedent setting, but I always took it as we've had some specific instances of buildings with serious structural problems, and this dialogue started as a result of that, and this is what's come back. That's how
Well, Saturday I had a concern because of that earthquake.
Right.
I mean, it shook my house and knocked some stuff off the wall. And last time we had an earthquake, we had some issues downtown. And I mean, I understand the point, and I understand the precedence point. I really do understand that.
Because the engineer would be an employee by the city, and he would be viewed as a representative of the city more than a representative of the building owner. And it's what happens if something in the dialogue exchange gets misunderstood and the building owner comes back and there's a more significant problem, and he says, well, your engineer didn't tell me about that. He missed it, or, because written reports are not debatable. The words are there and you can negotiate out, but verbal reports leave that to the interpretation of the hearers. So, that's my hesitation and the precedent of which engineer, which buildings, and how far does it go.
So we've budgeted money to help with the downtown building owners, but you're okay with helping with paying for projects, new windows, or
Right, oh, yes,
or
yeah.
tuck pointing a building, but not
Right.
not doing the initial look because
No,
of liability
I think
concerns.
the structural analysis and design of the repairs is a building owner's responsibility.
I can certainly see that if we were asking our city inspector to offer his opinion or something like that, but this person is not an employee of the city, so I don't see that we have any great liability, if any at all, on that personally.
Who's paying him?
We are.
Who's he working for?
He'd be an independent contractor if we had our way with the contract. I mean, we've done contracts recently with several people to do services for the city, and we always try and emphasize that if we're not controlling their work, they're an independent contractor. If we're telling them how to do their work, then we're an employer. I don't think we'd be telling a structural engineer how to do his job.
No.
No
Jeff-
more when Sean Turner comes up here, or John Heckman, or later, any professional that's hired to do work, we don't tell them how to do the job. We just tell them what job we want done.
Jeff, would it benefit if we were to have the property owner sign a release? I don't know if it's
Sure.
necessary, but if the property owner so chose to participate, signed a release, that protected the city, we could do that, if that would make you more comfortable.
I don't think that's our role is to provide that type of service. We'll do code interpretations and plan review, but analysis of systems, private buildings that we don't have any control of, because when we hire consultants, they're doing work on our own property. So there's other laws that come into effect, and they're licensing responsibility to us as the owner, that when we go in to provide an engineer to interpret structural conditions on a building that's owned by someone else, then we're taking, in my opinion, liability that we have to be accurate and we have to be concise, and there's no documentation to the presentation. And it's a line that a building owner should have that dialogue with their own engineer. Now, a group of building owners can hire one engineer like you suggested, which is an excellent way to reduce the cost to the building owners downtown. It really is attractive, and you've started a dialogue with an engineer that they can take it to the next step and get a written report and move towards correction on their own. And that's where, providing them with names of engineers, or even like you've done, work to schedule, I think that's great, but the actual payment of the engineer, I feel, should fall to the building owners.
One of the things that, we're talking about precedents, which I understand that, but I also think there's a credibility issue here too. Because I think the reason it even happened was because of the direction of this commission. And if all of a sudden we say, whoops, sorry, it'd been nice to have this discussion before we.
I think at the last time it came up, my opinion was the same. I've never supported the city hiring an engineer to look at structural issues on buildings. So, I haven't changed my opinion in that realm. But, that's just, like I said, my opinion.
I agree, but we don't want to go back on something we promised them, although I don't think we promised them anything specific. We just said we would set aside some money to help the downtown building owners, and that we would determine how that would be done, how that would be handled. So I'm not concerned about the liability. As far as I'm concerned, as a professional engineer, when somebody hires me, I'm taking all the liability as a professional engineer. It never goes back to the owner, in my opinion. So I'm not that concerned about it, but I'm okay with whatever you guys want to do. And I think we could cover ourselves by having them sign a release. And I think Jeff is saying we don't have any great liability. Am I correct in that, Jeff?
I don't think you do.
Okay. So, Fred, I think it's up to you, buddy.
Well, we tried to establish a dialogue with downtown business owners. We had them come to 2 different meetings, and we said we were willing to help, and we wanted to preserve and revitalize downtown. I do understand the idea about the MEP and that kind of stuff. I do understand that. I do think, though, that I know we didn't make any promises. When you go out and you survey people and they tell you what they want, then all of a sudden we say we can't do that. I think that's a credibility issue.
I should have brought that up to my dad.
What's that?
My dad, I told him what I wanted. A lot of times he said, no, you can't have it.
That's one
Dad, you're not credible.
So
I didn't work with mine either.
Well,
yeah.
It was in good faith, I thought, that we did. So, I don't know about the liability issue. Jeff says there's not an issue on them. So I'm okay with it. Matter of fact, if needed, if you don't want to make a motion, I will. I don't care.
Either way, let's go for it.
I make a motion, we approve the 1,100, or the negotiating a contract.
Negotiating a contract.
Yeah, a contract for, to work with structural engineer in response to the survey. Make sure that's in the minutes.
Subject to city attorney.
Subject to city attorney approval.
There you go. For reviewing downtown buildings.
For reviewing downtown building.
That's a mouthful.
Jen? She's still writing. Can I hear it before I second it?
All right, I have a motion to approve negotiating a contract to work with a structural engineer in response to the survey, subject to city approval, city attorney's approval for review of downtown buildings.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
All right.
I will say you should be very excited. We have some really great building owners that are excited for the opportunities that you've provided them.
That's fantastic
So, thank you.
news. Thank you. Appreciate it, April. Okay, next we had an item that was added, blocking parking in front of Memorial Hall for the American Legion Riders. Who's going to explain this to us?
That's just associated with the groundbreaking and everything that's going to happen on Sunday.
weekend.
And it's just something that they requested today. We didn't have it until today.
This is the parking out on.
Is this,
Yes. Out there,
Penn?
they want to put the bikes out there, the motorcycles.
Okay, those 6 or 8 spots there on Penn.
Yes.
Okay. That seems reasonable to me.
yeah. I mean, they've done a lot of planning, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's good that they,
Great.
this is a good deal.
Okay, so we want a motion for that? I move that we approve blocking off the parking in front of Memorial Hall on 9/11 from 12:30 to 3:30 for the American Legion Riders.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now I have on my list an executive session. How long is that executive session going to be? Who are we looking at?
20 minutes?
Yeah, should be
Okay, 6:37, roughly.
Is this for attorney-client privilege?
Attorney-client privilege, all right?
Make a motion, we go into executive session for attorney-client privilege
For 20 minutes.
for 20 minutes, yeah.
Second, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Who all's going in?
We can invite Sean Turner and Terry Leibarger.
Okay, Terry Leibarger, Sean Turner, Mickey, Jeff, Kelly, I'm assuming, and the commissioners. All right? See you in 20 minutes.
Commissioner Kiflish, did you vote on that? Commissioner Kiflish, did you vote on that one? Were you an aye?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was making notes. Thank you.
No, that's fine.
All right, we are back in session. We're going to take action on item N, related to damage caused by Kansas Fiber Network and Wichita Electric, in which a water line downtown was breached. A team from the city and a team from Kansas Fiber have met a couple times, and we're very pleased to announce that they were able to reach an agreement on August 29th as to what the city believes is owed to us for damages of the right-of-way from the water main break in November 2015 at Laurel and Penn. Both parties were able to settle our differences to each other's satisfaction, and the city looks forward to working with Kansas Fiber Network on future projects for our mutual benefit. Any facts that we need to share on this, Mickey or Sean, or?
It's just that we think we've got enough money to cover all of our expenses. We do think it'd be best to wait till after the festival and probably maybe even till next spring to make the corrections.
Right. We took borings of the street all the way down the block. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Sean. And the damage was much less than we had feared. We thought it might be all the way down the block. It's actually pretty well contained. So. That's correct. Yeah.
So it's going to be a full depth replacement, and it's
Right.
not going to be necessary.
Right. Okay. So we need a motion to approve this agreement with Kansas Fiber Network.
So moved.
All right. I will second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, 3-0. Pass that over to you. Okay, let's see. That's our last action item, I believe. So now we have reports. Item O, report on temporary relocation of Montgomery County Dispatch to 811 West Laurel.
Yes, the Sheriff's Department is in the process of moving into our building with their dispatchers. That will make, on a temporary basis, this will allow a better communication and allow the dispatchers to work together and maybe correct some of the issues that we've had in the past. So I think it's a mutual benefit that we have them together, at least on a temporary basis.
How temporary are we anticipating that to be?
As far as I know, probably until we leave the building.
Okay, all right. Gentlemen, any questions on that or discussion?
No.
I have a request to speak from Brad Hall. Brad, I don't know who Brad is. Oh, hey, Brad. On the 911 system, is this the time you'd like to address that, or? Okay, great. Why don't you? All righty. You got 3 minutes. I think you know that, right? Okay.
A couple weeks ago, we had a little fire out at the edge of town. I called 911. The lady that answered tells me to calm down. And then she hung up, or at least nobody was there. I called back, nobody answered. I thought it rang 12 times. Mr. Webb tells me it rang 15 times. This is not satisfactory. I wound up calling the sheriff's office on their regular line to get a fire truck. Our 911 system has never worked to suit the people. And I understand we pay for this service. The people are not getting it. I've heard a world of horror stories the last 2 weeks about 911 and it not working. I'm going to suggest that we do a 911 standalone system. I have yet to talk to a firefighter that likes the way we're doing it, that it doesn't work. Somebody's going to die in these deals that don't work. I'm going to put together a deal to do 911 on its own, a standalone system. For the county, not just for the north half. The way I understand it, we got the north half of the city, or north half of the county, south half of the county. I believe we should have a 911 system that benefits everybody. And the way we're doing it, this is not working. Mr. Webb and I talked about this the other day, not about a standalone system, about the way it doesn't work. I don't know that he's in complete agreement with what I say, but that's okay. We all have differences. I just feel like that we need to do something about it. This week, I've heard people say, well, I called for an ambulance and it didn't happen for X number of minutes. As I think back in my past, I've been around here 40-some years. I remember one time it took almost an hour to get an ambulance at a wreck. I don't feel like this is right. We need to get things to where it happens now. I have yet to talk to a firefighter that likes the way we're doing this thing. So therefore, I feel like that we need to change it. I don't know what to say. She's going to run me off, I can tell. But I just think that the way we're doing 911 isn't right. Thank you. I have time at this point to figure out how to make one work. If nobody else does, surely I'm sure there will be some other folks that's got some ideas how to do this. I realize it'll be expensive, but what's your kids' life worth? When I called 911, my son and my granddaughter was in the building with the fire, and the lady says, "Calm down, Mr. Hall." Wrong time to tell me that,
Sure.
And then nobody answers. Is that what it's supposed to work? Mr. Webb doesn't think it is either.
Now your time's up.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. I apologize that you had issues with the system very much.
The best part was nobody got hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'll be back.
Yeah, I was glad to read in the
We're
paper.
going to discuss this further.
Great. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments on item O? Mickey or? Okay. All right. Item P, update on city projects. Is that a Sean thing?
Yeah.
Good evening. Projects that we're working on, start with some water and sewer projects. The 8th Street water line under the KCS track, that is complete. Basin 5 sanitary sewer project, that's a CDBG funded one that's currently ongoing. You'll see some TriStar utility workers in the southeast area of the city that has CDBG and KDHE loan money in it. There is an alternate to that project that's been bid, but it will require that KDHE loan that we discussed last time for that to be undertaken. As will the Lakeview Lift Station. That one is designed and ready to bid. We have approval from KDHE to bid it, but we'll have to do the KDHE loan for that to get going as well. I think the question was asked, if we did not apply for those loans, did it jeopardize funding? It doesn't jeopardize funding. The money is going to be there. It's just these two projects are waiting on the money to do that. The water treatment plant, we're currently doing design on the improvements out there, the electrical work and the gunite at the basins. That's also going to require the KDHE loan like we discussed last week. On the street ADA projects, the 10th and Chestnut project, we recently completed that. Peter Pan Road, it's 90% plans are complete, which that is the point when you start procuring right-of-way and easements and relocating utilities to do the project. So that is where we're at on that project. We'll begin that process. And then it's still scheduled currently to bid in January on the KDOT letting that has the GI funding in it, and KDOT will actually handle that bid opening.
Okay.
The city has a clink for the year 2017 there hasn't been any really action on. There should be some point in the near future. It has basically $290,000 in KDOT funds, $330,000 in city funds. Initially, we had discussed around budget time of combining that with clinks in coming years, but KDOT didn't fund the clink program this year, so there may not be a project to combine that with.
Right.
So just something Mickey and I had talked about is you may want to go ahead and get that bid and instead of just waiting. But that's not requiring any action tonight. But that's one that's coming up, and that was on Highway 75 from Chestnut to Oak, basically resurfacing that stretch of road and doing ADA ramps. Phase 3 of the ADA program was recently completed. With that, we've done a total of 1,026 ramps, or 36 ramps. I understand there's been a lot of discussion on how those ramps are chosen. You know, basically we have the DOJ set of complaints. Then there are complaints that come in from the city, and then there are a set of ramps that we call that are basically connector ramps that link different pedestrian paths to different areas. So we would work with the city's ADA coordinator at the time, which at the start of this it was Tony Royce before he retired, but then we'd pick those ramps and put them into packages and for the 3 phases of the ADA. So we did 3 phases, completed 810 ramps on the DOJ list, 58 ramps from what we called the complaint list, and 143 connecting ramps. In addition, the city completed 109 other ramps on KDOT projects, and then 144 ramps on overlay projects. This is over the last 3 or 4 years. So that's and then 25 other ramps. So that's a total of 1,289 ramps that have been completed over the last, I guess, since we've started the ADA project.
25 others, is that what you said?
Yes, 25 others. Kind of a hodgepodge of, we did the downtown ramps, and I think a couple others out at the school for a sidewalk. So there was a hodgepodge of other projects.
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward, as part of the DOJ settlement, the city still needs to respond to complaints, and then there still are some DOJ ramps. We've got about 144 DOJ ramps remaining. So Kelly and I have talked some, and Mickey, that you need to really each year or every other year, however the commission desires, fund a smaller ADA program. I don't think you're going to get any CDBG money for these, so you're not looking at the $800,000 projects, but something like numbers we've kicked around is $25,000 to $50,000 in ramp projects, just to stay responsive to your settlement agreement and address those issues.
144 sounds like a really small number compared to what we've done.
Compared to what you've done, they are kind of a breakdown of those DOJ ramps, and you need to keep in mind you're eventually going to have to do every ramp in town. Every city is.
Right.
But some of those are.
I thought that the ADA only requires where you've milled an overlay. They can't require you to go in, and if a street is still brick, put a handicap ramp there unless you have a complaint.
You're correct, but I mean, from my perspective, I've been doing this for 30 years. Another 30 years, you're going to have overlaid all your streets, so you're going to have to do them all, other than what may remain brick.
But you could put those in your milling and overlay instead of doing them ahead of time, couldn't you?
Yes. That's exactly right. But eventually you're going to have to do all these streets, and even eventually replace the brick streets someday. But there's I said 144. There's 127 DOJ ramps left. I'm sorry.
Even better.
And we think that 55 of those are actually on highways, so they could receive KDOT funding when you do overlays in those areas.
57?
55.
55.
Then 8 are the dreaded switchbacks, or 16 of the ramps are dreaded switchbacks. Those are the big monstrosities out of the corner. They're extremely expensive. After doing those in our first phase, we kind of, through the direction of the city, and it's a good idea, I got away from doing those as much because we can do many more ramps.
Right.
For the
and
money.
They're eyesores too.
Yes. So then there's the 23 of those remaining DOJ ramps are in the downtown areas on the corners, which we've discussed, and we've sent our letter to DOJ saying we prefer not to, or asking that we're not replacing the concrete until it fails on the sidewalk. Right. Then there's 5 that have little or no sidewalk remaining. There's there's been unfortunately some bad press over the sidewalk to nowhere, and I take full responsibility for that. That is one that I wish I would have taken out and called DOJ. It was a DOJ ramp, but I wish I would have taken it out of the project or called DOJ to see if we could, and I did not do that. So there's 5 others.
You don't know that they would have taken it out, though.
No, I don't know that, but it was originally on the DOJ complaint list.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Then there are the other 28 are expensive ramps as well. So there's kind of mitigating circumstances on the majority of those ramps. There's a few that are simple ramps, but most of those are going to be higher cost ramps. So that's my report for tonight. I'll be glad to answer any questions on any.
Can you clarify when you say we're required to respond to complaints? So if anybody complains about any crossing, they want a ramp there, we're required to respond to that?
As part of your DOJ settlement agreement, yeah, you are required to respond in some way. If it's an extremely expensive ramp, I think it's okay for your response to be that is an extremely expensive ramp, so we'll have to find a way to budget money for that. But yes, you're required to respond.
That was my question.
Yeah.
How fast we'd be required to act and do something about it?
Yeah, there is a contingency which you shouldn't use very often, but that economic concerns for a specific and I'm using the improper terms, but cost is a consideration, cost effectiveness is a consideration in extreme circumstances.
Okay.
So there's
Gentlemen, questions for Sean?
Are we, the water treatment plant, is that part of your existing contract, or are we looking at a design?
We're doing that under that
contract?
existing contract. I'd prefer to do it under a separate one, and that's something we probably should do in the next few months.
Yeah. If the money hasn't been budgeted or agreed to in a contract, it's kind of...
Yeah, I agree, and I've had that in my mind as well. We need to credit what that amount is going to be with what we've done to date and sign a new contract. I agree with that.
So do we have to submit a plan for the remainder of those, there was 55, or not 55, the remaining 20-some ramps? Do we have to submit a plan that's time-sensitive, or is it?
I would recommend including that in your transition plan. That is that somewhat of a living document that tells how you're going to address all of your ADA issues. There's issues at the zoo and the park that are out there too, that designs have been done for, and they're sitting there. And the DOJ, the transition plan should include a cost estimate and a time frame for getting those done. So yes, we should include those in the transition plan.
On the Peter Pan, Main Street geometric, what's the progress of those drawings?
Peter Pan,
Yeah.
they're 90% complete, which they're essentially done. That's just a KDOT benchmark, and we are assisting the city in obtaining easements and right-of-way and relocating utilities in that area.
You said bidding in January, and KDOT will handle that.
Yes, it's currently scheduled for the January letting. It should be fine unless we hit a snag on some of the easements, which I really don't anticipate. We've gotten a few of those already, and I think most people in that area want to see the project move forward, and it's not really intrusive on the properties. So.
When do you expect that will happen?
All of the easements obtained?
When we start construction?
Yeah, when you start.
Oh, construction would start probably March.
Okay. All right.
Is that a concrete or asphalt?
Concrete.
The intersection there is asphalt, isn't it?
I think only I'm going to have to look. I don't have those plans with me. I think a portion of it is, and we are replacing a portion of that out into Main, but not the entire intersection.
Okay.
Anything else? Fred,
No.
anything else? Sean, thanks so much.
Thanks, Sean.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, just to clarify though.
Yeah.
At the next meeting, do you want us to bring back an engineering contract for the water treatment plant?
If he's doing design work
Okay, I
for
just
a
wanted to.
potential project,
Okay.
we need it sometime, and whether it,
Is that doable or?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. And then also on, is there a dollar amount package that you could give us on some of these ramp things so we could start putting together a package to bring back to you for your consideration?
I wonder, we've got the move to the temporary building that's not been defined as finite cost, and then we're talking with the facilitator on long-term City Hall. Should we get some figures firmed up in those areas before we really look at a package to go further with ADA or anything? And I think we got a lot of dollars out there that we don't know, and even the transitional operational costs in the building that.
Right.
I would feel better knowing where we are on those items.
Yeah, I agree.
Before we.
You have so many
Okay.
unknowns
And I think,
right now.
with the transition, I'm sure the staff has many other things to do than to work on.
Right.
on
I
that
just wanted to
budget right
confirm
now.
if you wanted us to, so that we could, have it ready to go out for bid, in the spring. We'll have to have direction on putting some locations together for your approval.
Yeah, I think we need to see where we're going to be dollar-wise with all these unknowns. Thank you.
Unless we made $1 million on the Shenandoah concert, and then it's a whole new ballgame. That was a joke, sorry. All right. Q, report on Shenandoah concert. Who's covering that for us?
Mike Flood's here to report on that.
Mike Flood, come on down. Did we make $1 million? No. No, okay. I thought that would be the answer. Did we lose $1 million? No.
Well, thank you for allowing me to make a report tonight, and I think due to the lateness here, I'm just going to read the prepared letter that I have here for you. That's pretty much got it all in a nutshell. And it starts out, thank you for your support of the commission and the opportunity to work with the city staff on a great concert at our historic Memorial Hall. There are several ways to measure the success of a concert. One is always financial. The August 19th Shenandoah concert sold 538 paid tickets. I'm pleased to report to you, the commission, that the city will receive a check for $8,569.68, exceeding the city's initial investment of $8,500. This amount represents the sponsorships and half of the ticket sales. In addition to the direct financial impact mentioned above, there's also the economic impact to the community. This includes the hotel rooms booked, the meals purchased, the gasoline purchased, retail merchandise purchased, and contract labor. It also includes sales taxes collected on ticket sales and the items previously mentioned, and the transient guest tax collected. However, the greatest accomplishment is the quality concert that was provided to the community and to the visitors that travel to Independence. People travel to our community from 41 different cities in 3 states. The compliments of our community received from the people that attended were fantastic. Independence has built relationships with people that will hopefully attend future concerts in Independence. We also developed a good team, which is important to putting on a quality concert. The team includes Memorial Hall and city staff, the Chamber of Commerce, volunteers from the community, and businesses. Additionally, the media from Independence and the surrounding area went above and beyond with the publicity and advertising. Based on this report, we are ready for the next event and to continue our efforts to fully utilize Memorial Hall. The Independence Chamber of Commerce Convention and Visitors Bureau look forward to working with the city on another great event.
Great.
Any questions?
Yeah, refresh my memory. I thought that we had agreed, we'd voted to chip in $10,000.
$10,000, yeah.
That was the number that came to mind for me.
We did agree on $10,000. What we did is we did not charge for Memorial Hall, and so we credited the $10,000 for the $1,500 cost that it would have been for the event to use Memorial Hall. We counted that
Gotcha.
as part of our $10,000 contribution.
So we wrote a check for $8,500.
Yes.
And we got about that back. Break even, basically.
$69.
Okay.
$85.69.
Yeah.
Some
I'll
pennies.
take it.
Yeah,
Better than
that's
losing
including-
money.
That's including the sponsorships that the city's already received directly.
Yeah, we've received about $1,000 in sponsorships directly to us as well.
Great.
On top of that.
Wonderful. I thought it was a fabulous concert.
It was good.
So
It was
you
good.
can tell from the ticket sales where people are coming from out of town?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so you got pretty good stats on that.
Yes.
Is that
we
through
do.
that online ticket sell?
We had online ticket sales, and then, of course, also box office. And we pulled out all the stops. I don't know if you know that we had the portable box office. And we were at Farmers Market. We were at Interstate Fair and Rodeo. We were doing everything we could to sell tickets.
Everywhere I went, there was Tony with her table.
Tony was there.
Weddings, christenings, bar
That's right.
mitzvahs. Yeah.
That's right.
Everywhere, yeah. Thanks, Tony. That was amazing.
Okay. We don't have anything in mind coming forward that we'd recommend to you, but no doubt we will in the future. And we are very interested in continuing this collaboration with the city and see if we can continue. I mean, it's kind of started with last October, the Oak Ridge Boys for Niwala. Then we had the Fiddler Hall of Fame in April.
Right.
And
this one, as I remember one of you saying, it just kind of dropped in your laps. They had a date to fill between two
That's
other
right.
dates.
That's right.
So
Right.
we get things like that occasionally, I
Yes,
guess.
we do. We have relationships with a couple of the major talent agencies that send us their, what they call fill lists. and you wouldn't believe who's on there, but you got to call them to find out what the price is. So if you like something, that's what you do. And so we'll just have to wait and see what makes sense, and we're, of course, open to any suggestions that people have. It doesn't always have to be country, for example. We have considered other acts, and just trying to find the right one, and that's hard to do in today's world.
Right. I think it's fabulous personally. I mean, Independence is a great place to live, and it's nice to have, entertainment as one of the many things we offer, and especially when it ended up not costing us money. That worked out really well. I appreciate your hard work on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No.
No. All right. Thanks, Mike.
You bet. I have a package here for Jan. Here's some copies of the letter that they wrote.
Okay, report on sales tax revenues.
There's not a lot to say. Just for the second month in a row, we've come in a little shy of last year, and you can see from the average down below that we're just slightly lower than last year.
Right.
So that's 2 months ago, right, basically?
Mhm.
So we received in September would be for June?
Yeah, what we'll receive in September will be for July.
Yeah. July,
I'm sorry,
yes.
what we just received at the very end of August was
Yeah.
July. What we're going to receive in September is going to be the August receipts.
It will, okay.
Down there, the next to the bottom line, 7 payments. So
Mhm.
that's what we've gotten to date.
Yes.
Is that right? So for the whole year, we're 5,000 below last year. I mean, yeah, below this time last year. Am I looking at that right?
Yes.
1,144,000, 1,139,000.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're below last year,
Yes.
but ahead of the year before.
Right.
No, behind the last 2 years, sorry. Oh, gotta get a magnifying glass. Leonard, any thoughts on that?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Thanks so much. Commissioner comments. Fred, anything else you want to talk about?
No.
No, sorry. Leonard?
Well, I wonder if we could possibly, I know we had talked in the past about a joint meeting with the Coffeyville and county commissioners. Kind of came seeing the consolidation or the sharing of the dispatch center now that we had talked about pursuing to see what other services maybe we could share that could benefit all 3 entities. And wondered if we, or if anyone would be interested, the other commissioner would be interested in pursuing to see if Coffeyville Commission and the county commissioners would be willing to sit down and we could share ideas or at least put in a direction so staff could pursue some options.
I love the idea. Have we ever, has that ever been done before that we know of?
Not that I'm aware of. but-
The commissioners have met with the county commissioners? But not
But
Coffeyville?
not during my time, not all 3.
I can see that being difficult to pull off, but I love the idea.
We can,
I don't know how we'd pull it off.
we can talk to them.
Yeah.
If the goal is to improve service.
Mhm.
If the goal is to consolidate for consolidation purposes, then
Well, just seeing what areas that we're duplicating that.
Yeah, where could we work
Maybe
together?
we can, I had visited with one of the other commissioners from Coffeyville and then county commissioner. They were even thinking, is there a way to bulk buy paper or supplies? Just really trying to look at what areas we could schedule that, even police vehicles, instead of buying one at a time, each of us schedule that purchase that maybe instead of one, we're purchasing 4 or 6, whatever number, and possibly getting a better discount on multiple units instead of one. But, just kind of use it as a place to start.
Yeah,
to
start
see
the
what could
discussion,
happen.
right. Who knows where it might lead. I love that idea. I don't know what the first step would be on making it happen, but
Contact the other entities and see.
Have staff talk to them, find out
Yeah.
what interest level there is.
yeah. See if
See
they're
if
interested in talking
see
to
what
us.
the possibilities
Right.
are.
Okay?
Isn't that how Greenbush got started in schools?
Yes.
And look where that
Oh,
led.
really?
They
Are
got
you
a
just
big
wanting-
group health plan for them.
Yeah.
Are you just wanting Coffeyville, or do you
Coffeyville
want
and the
all
county.
all the counties in the city and the county?
Well, it needs to be,
The city and the county,
You
Coffeyville,
want just the city and the county, because you said Coffeyville earlier, that's why I'm
yeah,
asking.
Coffeyville.
Coffeyville.
City, Independent City.
and the
and
county.
county.
Okay, but not the other cities. Okay.
If they're, I don't see why limit it if the other cities, Cherryville, Caney,
Could certainly be open to that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that idea. Leonard, anything else?
no, that was the only thing.
I had two quick questions, I hope quick. The rate study, I haven't heard much about that lately. When,
No, we'll check on that
okay.
and report to you.
Weren't we expecting that fairly
Yeah,
quickly?
It's been about 60 days.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The other one that I talked to the owner of the Dollar General store, or his representative, he called me, what's the next step on that one?
Their last thing I heard was they're talking about making some repairs on the roof.
Oh, wow, okay. It's not what he told me.
they're gonna spend the money to repair it.
That's what the last thing Don told us.
He told me
But,
we want to bring it down. What's it going to take to, at our cost?
Well, in that regard, they need to, I think Don's expressed this to them, they need to show where they've looked at other
Right.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Because of the
it's in a-
historical.
Yeah.
But,
That shouldn't be difficult to show. I mean, how many
No.
opportunities are there for that building?
I think they were actually wanting a call, and were hoping you'd be involved in a call too.
I did call him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had a long talk with
And
Jack.
And what did he say?
He said, we want to bring it down. I mean, we're ready, at our cost, we're ready to demolish it. We got bids to demolish it. But then when I talked to Jeff later, he said, no, now they're talking about repairing it. So,
Yeah, they go from one extreme to the other. When did you talk to him today?
no, this was a week ago or
Oh,
something.
wait, I think he's already changed.
Yeah, okay, all right.
But we do need to, they need to do something.
Yeah, I'd rather they pay to bring it down than we pay to bring it
Absolutely.
down, so. if
This
they're open.
property is on the agenda for the next meeting to come
Okay,
back.
great,
as a review.
all right, thanks. I just wanted to know if I was supposed to be doing something else. Okay, public concerns. First, we have Debbie Miller. Debbie?
At the last commission meeting, Mayor Hogsett was most indignant that some individuals were violating the city's agenda policy. He even threatened to have anyone in violation of it removed by Police Chief Harrison. This righteous indignation at someone violating a city policy was beyond hypocritical, considering that during this last year, this city commission may have violated conflict of interest laws but lacked the integrity to submit the mercy vote to the Kansas Governmental Ethics Commission for an opinion. It sat idly by and let governmental officials violate the city's code of ethics and allowed its agenda policy to be applied in a discriminatory manner. It sat idly by while one commissioner consistently disrespected, interrupted, and berated a fellow commissioner whom was elected by a majority of the voters. It sat idly by while that same commissioner launched an unprovoked verbal attack on a citizen whom was respectfully attending a commission meeting. It sat idly by while the city clerk made a statement about that same citizen, which was not only an outright lie, but also slander. It sat idly by while the city manager hosted numerous city hall complaint tours instead of setting the expectation that any maintenance issues would be resolved so the integrity of that taxpayer asset would be preserved. It continually renewed the contract of an inept city manager whose substandard management skills have poorly served Independence residents and have most recently resulted in the needless waste of $1 million tax dollars. Perhaps Mayor Hogsett This commission's indignation and attention would be better spent on ensuring the city's agenda policy is applied in a non-discriminatory manner, on enforcing the city's code of ethics, on showing the same respect for all citizens and their elected officials that this commission expects all citizens to show it, on deciding what this commission is going to do with City Hall, since it and Mickey Webb have negligently allowed that taxpayer asset to become virtually worthless, on setting the expectation that Mickey Webb will present a comprehensive plan for any major project so this commission doesn't continue its irresponsible practice of blindly committing tax dollars to something it knows little or nothing about. If you commissioners want people to flatter you and praise you and always agree with you, then I would suggest you have your pals meet you at Anna Mae's. This is America, where freedom of speech is guaranteed. So if you can't tolerate and respect dissenting voices, and if you can't treat every citizen equally as is required by federal law, you should give up your seat to someone who can. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Debbie. I know we're not supposed to respond, but I certainly apologize if I was threatening last time. That was certainly not my intention. Mr. Weibel is next.
Since I'm bringing up the radio, I get 6 minutes?
3 minutes.
First thing I'd like to start with is Westar recently came out with a insurance plan where you could pay so much a month and have your insurance line protected. I think it's something the city should look at because we've got a lot of people in this community that are on fixed income, and I think they would benefit by a little peace of mind knowing that it's only going to cost X amount every month in case the water line does break. The house that I'm renting recently had a problem. The water bill was, I think, $660 or something like that. And then, according to my landlord, he thinks it's going to be about $2,000 to have the water pipe replaced. It's tipped right now, which I don't know how many breaks there are in town on a monthly basis. That's something you'd have to go through your records. I would like to have a detailed proposal. I mean, I would love to work with a committee in this community on budgeting, multi-year, that kind of thing, capital expenditures, how to reduce expenses. I have 25 years of operational management experience, and I've managed up to 12 different budgets in a year. So I do know a little bit, although I have to say the municipal budgets are a little bit different than what I was used to looking at. But anyway, as far as that goes, I wrote it out, kind of just a rough draft, and I think you should take a look at it. The other thing is, last week, I thought I had a simple request for the city, and I found out different, and that I was trying to get my water bill due date changed. And in a conversation with various people, and ended up with Mickey, I came to the conclusion, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, but I don't have the records. And I think if I got the gist of it, you're reading every meter in town every month, which to me is a waste of manpower, because the larger cities have not been doing that for a long time. They do the meeting once every other month or once a quarter, and then they do historical projections on the other ones. And, it's kind of catch up whenever they do the reading. That would give the city an immediate loss of at least one person. I don't know how many people you got reading meters. I'm guessing 2, but you could have more than that. But, just to take a wild swag at it, if you were able to roll out something by October, and I say by October because you're going to probably have to buy new software from all the times I heard about our old software. Although I would recommend you look into purchasing from a company that has a system already online to where you just tie in to it, and they provide all the computers, all that. All you have to do is have a terminal, and your graphic user interface is like when you hit your web browser and you look at MSN or something like that. That way the city doesn't have to maintain the assets. I talked too long.
Thank you, Big. Appreciate it. 3
Thank
more
you.
minutes next time. All right. Any more executive sessions needed tonight? All right. Move we adjourn?
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks, everyone.